Hey there, home cooks, ready to tackle a dish that seems intimidating but is surprisingly easy? Get ready for fall-off-the-bone, finger-licking delicious oven-baked pork ribs. Don't worry, we'll break it down step by step. You got this. This recipe is perfect for those nights when you crave something hearty, flavorful, and satisfying. The best part? You don't need to be a grill master or spend hours in the kitchen. With just a few simple ingredients and your trusty oven, you'll be amazed at the restaurant-quality results. Get ready to impress your family and friends with ribs so tender and flavorful, they'll think you ordered takeout from the best barbecue joint in town. So, let's put on our aprons, gather our ingredients, and embark on this delicious culinary adventure. Before we fire up the oven, let's gather our culinary weapons, the ingredients that will transform ordinary pork ribs into a mouth-watering masterpiece. Don't worry, we're keeping it simple and approachable. Here's what you'll need. Pork ribs. Choose a rack of about 2 to 3 pounds, either baby back ribs or spare ribs. Olive oil. A couple of tablespoons will help our rub adhere to the ribs and create a beautiful crust. Spices. Here's where we build the flavor. You'll need paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, salt and black pepper. Brown sugar, a touch of sweetness to balance the savory spices and enhance the ribs' natural flavors. That's it. With these simple ingredients, we're well on our way to creating ribs that are bursting with flavor and will have everyone coming back for seconds. Now that we have our ingredients assembled, let's give those ribs some love before they hit the heat. This crucial step ensures they cook evenly and absorb all those amazing flavors we're about to introduce. First, remove the ribs from their packaging and pat them dry with paper towels. This removes excess moisture, allowing the rub to adhere better and the ribs to brown beautifully in the oven. Next, flip the ribs over and locate the thin membrane on the backside. Using a knife, carefully loosen a corner of the membrane. Then, grab it with a paper towel and slide it off in one piece. Removing the membrane helps the ribs cook more evenly and allows the flavors to penetrate deeper. With the membrane removed, give the ribs a final pat down with paper towels. Our ribs are prepped and ready for the next step, the flavor explosion. Get ready to awaken your senses as we create a flavor-packed rub that will transform these ribs into something truly special. This simple mixture of spices is where the magic happens, infusing the ribs with layers of savory, smoky, and slightly sweet notes. In a small bowl, combine the following spices: paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and black pepper. Feel free to adjust the quantities to your liking, adding a bit more of what you love. Want a touch of heat? A pinch of cayenne pepper will do the trick. Once your spices are combined, add a couple of tablespoons of brown sugar to the mix. The brown sugar not only adds a touch of sweetness, but also helps to create a beautiful caramelized crust on the ribs as they bake. Give the rub a final stir to ensure all the ingredients are well combined. Now, let's introduce this flavor bomb to our prepped ribs. Section 5. The oven, your secret weapon for tender, juicy ribs. While grilling might be the traditional method for cooking ribs, our trusty oven is more than capable of delivering exceptional results. In fact, oven baking ribs ensures they cook evenly, stay incredibly moist, and require minimal attention from the chef. That's you. Preheat your oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit or 150 degrees Celsius. This low and slow cooking method is the key to breaking down the tough connective tissues in the ribs, resulting in fall-off-the-bone tenderness. While the oven is preheating, let's prepare our ribs for their cozy sauna session. Line a baking sheet with aluminum foil for easy cleanup. This will catch any drippings and prevent them from burning onto your pan. Now place the ribs meat side down on the prepared baking sheet. We'll start them this way to render out some of the fat and allow the flavors of the rub to penetrate the meat from the bottom up. Section 6. Time and temperature. The keys to perfectly cooked ribs. With our oven preheated and the ribs nestled comfortably on their baking sheet, it's time to talk about the magic of time and temperature. These two factors play a crucial role in achieving ribs that are cooked to perfection. Tender, juicy, and bursting with flavor. Place the baking sheet with the ribs in the preheated oven and let them bake undisturbed for 1.5 to 2 hours. This slow cooking process allows the heat to gently work its way through the meat, breaking down tough fibers and infusing the ribs with the flavors of the rub. During this cooking time, resist the urge to open the oven door frequently. Every time you peek, you release precious heat, which can affect the cooking time and potentially dry out the ribs. Trust the process, and your patience will be rewarded. After the initial cooking time, it's time to check on our ribs and give them a flavorful boost. Section 7. While the ribs bake, preparing a simple, flavorful sauce. As our ribs are busy soaking up all those delicious flavors in the oven, let's take a few moments to whip up a simple yet incredibly flavorful sauce. This sauce will add a final touch of sweetness, tanginess, and a hint of smokiness to our ribs, elevating them to new heights of deliciousness. In a small saucepan, combine your favorite barbecue sauce with a splash of apple cider vinegar. The vinegar will cut through the sweetness of the barbecue sauce, adding a delightful tangy note that complements the rich flavor of the ribs. For an extra layer of smoky flavor, add a dash of smoked paprika to the sauce. If you like a bit of heat, feel free to stir in a pinch of cayenne pepper or a few drops of hot sauce. Bring the sauce to a simmer over medium heat, stirring occasionally to prevent sticking. Once simmering, reduce the heat to low and let the sauce gently bubble away while the ribs finish cooking. This will allow the flavors to meld and deepen. Section 8. The final touch, basting the ribs to perfection. After the ribs have enjoyed their initial baking time, it's time to give them some love with our delicious homemade sauce. Basting the ribs not only adds another layer of flavor, but also helps to create a beautiful caramelized glaze on the surface. Carefully remove the baking sheet from the oven, being mindful of the hot steam. Using a pastry brush or spoon, generously baste the ribs with the prepared sauce, ensuring to coat them evenly on all sides. Once the ribs are nicely coated in sauce, return the baking sheet to the oven for the final stage of cooking. This time, we'll be baking them for an additional 30 minutes, allowing the sauce to thicken and caramelize, creating a finger-licking glaze. As the ribs bake, the aroma of smoky, sweet, and savory goodness will fill your kitchen, making it nearly impossible to resist sneaking a taste. But trust me, the wait is worth it. Section 9. Checking for doneness signs your ribs are ready to devour. As the tantalizing aroma of ribs fills your kitchen, you're probably eager to dig in. But how can you be sure they're cooked to perfection? Here are a few telltale signs that your ribs are ready to be devoured. The meat pulls back. When you gently tug on a bone with a fork, the meat should pull back easily, indicating that it's tender and cooked through. Cracking on the surface. Look for cracks forming on the surface of the ribs. This is a sign that the meat has shrunk slightly as it cooked, indicating that it's nice and tender. Internal temperature. For the most accurate measure of doneness, use a meat thermometer. Insert the thermometer into the thickest part of the meat, avoiding any bones. The internal temperature should reach 145 degrees Fahrenheit, 63 degrees Celsius, for safe consumption. Once your ribs pass these tests, it's time to release them from their oven haven and prepare for a truly satisfying culinary experience. Section 10. Serving your masterpiece. Presenting your delicious oven-baked ribs. Congratulations, home chef! You've successfully transformed ordinary pork ribs into a mouth-watering masterpiece. Now it's time to present your culinary triumph with pride and enjoy the fruits of your labor. Carefully remove the baking sheet from the oven, taking care not to spill any of the precious sauce. Let the ribs rest for a few minutes before slicing and serving. This allows the juices to redistribute, ensuring every bite is bursting with flavor. While the ribs are resting, gather your favorite sides to accompany this hearty and delicious main course. Coleslaw, potato salad, baked beans, and cornbread are all classic pairings that complement the smoky, sweet, and savory flavors of the ribs. Once the ribs have rested, slice them into individual portions and arrange them on a platter. Drizzle any remaining sauce over the ribs for an extra burst of flavor and visual appeal. Section 11. Conclusion. Enjoy the fruits of your labor-tender, flavorful ribs. There you have it, a foolproof recipe for oven-baked pork ribs that will impress even the most discerning palate. With just a few simple ingredients and a bit of patience, you've created a dish that's bursting with flavor, fall-off-the-bone tender, and sure to become a new family favorite. So gather your loved ones, pour yourself some refreshing beverages, and dig into the irresistible goodness of your oven-baked ribs. The combination of tender meat, smoky spices, and sweet and tangy sauce is a culinary symphony that will have everyone singing your praises. And the best part? You can recreate this culinary triumph anytime the craving strikes. So go ahead, pat yourself on the back, and savor the satisfaction of a job well done. You've earned it.